Welcome to the National Museum of Modern Arts, a museum that is filled with incredible, unique, and exclusive painters. Today, we will be presenting you some artists of the movement Colorfield. Come join us. First up, we have Mark Rothko. He was born on September 25 of 1903, where he excelled in his academics and graduated from Lincoln's High School. He also attended to Yale College, where he studied liberal arts and science, but he left without graduating. In his early career, Rothko mostly drew portraits, nudes, and urbanic scenes. In the Great Depression, it encouraged Rothko to join meetings of the Leftist Artists Union. In the 1930s, he was very influenced by the movement of Expressionism, however, he decided in the 1940s to leave Expressionism for Surrealism because he wanted to do more abstract imagery. In the mid-1940s, he was influenced by the artist Still, where due to his abstract fields of color, he was very influenced that he decided to do paintings influenced by the movement of Colorfield. Mark Rothko never considered himself as a Colorfield painter, but critics put him in the movement of Colorfield due that his paintings match with the movement of Colorfield. In 1938, Mark Rothko had a severe illness, and in 1940, Mark Rothko committed suicide by an overdose due to his depression. Mark Rothko's paintings were very inspired by Clayford Still. And here you can see that in this painting, Green and Maroon, made in 1953 in oil on canvas, you can see the painting is a large painting that it has the colors that it says, green and maroon. And here, in number 61 by Mark Rothko, 1953, oil on canvas, it has a red rectangle and it uses blue tones. And in Mark Rothko White Center 1950 oil on canvas, and here he tried to portray calmness. In Mark Rothko Orange and Yellow 1956 oil on canvas, you can see the painting has mostly the color orange with a little different color yellow. Now moving on, we have the American painter Bartlett Newman. This painter was born in January 1905 in New York. He was considered as one of the most intellectual artists of the school in New York. He was also one of the leading figures in the movement of abstract expressionism. He was also one of the foremost painters in the movement of Colorfield. His paintings basically consisted, they wanted to explore the feeling of place in which viewers from the art can sense this type of feelings by looking at his paintings. paintings were normally very big, and he used his paintings consisted on a big empty canvas, a field in which he put color, and he did a technique called sits, in which were a vertical stripe, like you can see in this example of Horizon Light by Barnett Newman, a great example of his technique called sips. Many minimalists look at his paintings for inspiration. In the 1960s, he normally does paintings, but he made a sculpture and then he published it to the public. In 1970, he died due to a heart attack. Now I will present you the painting of Barnett Newman called Horizon and Light Oil on Canvas. This one is called Concord, made in 1949 with the technique of oil masking on canvas, which is one of my favorite paintings made by Barnett Newman. This is called One Man 3, made in 1949, also with the technique oil on canvas. And this one is Untitled, made by Barnett Newman with the oil on canvas. Now moving on with the painter Maurice Louis. This painter was an American painter born in Maryland in 1912, September 1912. And his paintings were largely inspired by the painter Helen Frankenthaler. He was a former Cubist in the 1950s, and after seeing Frankenthaler's work and Jackson Pollock, which were the artists he was largely inspired, he decided to try color field, in which his paintings were like this. Like he was concerned about the color and form. Due to his inspiration and of Helen Frankenthaler, he did a new technique. He created a new technique that was putting paint and staining a raw white canvas, and then he used to stain it like the Airborne, and in which he made a new painting using the stain. Also, he used inspired by Helen Frankenthaler. He used colors in which he also stained them and appeared the paintings like this. Now I will present you the paintings of Maurice Louis. This painting is called Untitled, that was made in 1959 to 1960 by Magna on Canvas. This is called Wear in 1960, that's also made with the technique Magna on Canvas. This is called Airborne in 1959, made by Maurice Louis, called Acrylic on Canvas. And this, also made by Maurice Louis, called Dalek Kalev, that is in 1959 by Acrylic Resign on Canvas. Now we have a special guest that will be talking us about more paintings of the museum. We present you Helen Frankenthaler.
Hello, my name is Helen Frankenthaler, and I would like to tell you about my paintings. So I was an artist that was born in 1928 but then I became active in painting, such as color field, during the mid-20th century. My techniques were based on what I like to call soak painting, which is basically I grab a canvas and then I just throw paint and use sponges, maybe towels, or anything that lets the paint soak, and use it as a technique. I also like to use very vivid and vibrant colors in my paintings. For example, we have this painting that I did it in 1990. I named it Poseidon, and I used the colors blues, like blues and foggy colors, and I drew, well, more like I dragged a stripe of orange, symbolizing like a fiery impact. Then I did this painting earlier. I did it on 1963, and I channeled it Riverhead. And I just, as you can see, I used a lot of blue and some brown with a mix of orange and purple and greens, but mostly I used blue for my painting. And I remember when I made this painting in 2005, I named it Southern Exposure, and more the colors I did it in are mostly orange, yellow, brown, red, which gives us like a mix of purplish red with brown, and a stripe of green colors. And I also, during the same time I did Riverhead, I did The Bay, which I did in 1963, and this is a painting of a blue splash of color. I did it with paint and like with my soaking technique with green, and here I mixed up a lot of white with a very little green. And also I did this one that I named it Tutti Frutti because of the colors. It reminded me so much of something colorful and vivid. So I did it in 1966, and my colors that I use are mostly blue, yellow, like a lavender, a green, an orange, and a red. But I would also like to tell you about my friend Kenneth Noland. So, for example, he was a very influential artist because not only did he paint, we all call him painter of painters because he will teach us his techniques, and he was a very good person. And as you can see, he loved circles and geometrical shapes. And well, his technique was also like mine, with vivid and vibrant colors, all full of life. For example, in 1958, he did this painting called The Beginning, which is a circle inside another circle. As you can see, it's a bunch of circles in which the main color palette is red, blue, black, and white. And also, he did another circle named In the Interior in 1958. He did it with acrylic on canvas and watercolor. And as you can see, the main color palette in here will be again blue, red, black, orange, yellow, and so on. And he also, a year later after these paintings, he did this one called The Breast. It was also an acrylic on canvas, and as you can see, he only used 3 main colors, which is blue, yellow, and red. No, and green, I'm sorry. And finally, see one of his most recent paintings in this museum will be Bravo Barcelona, which different from the other paintings. This is not a circle, and he did it in 1983. This is stripes of colors going from blues to reds to oranges, almost to a faded yellow. And yes, and once again, I am Helen Frankenthaler, and I hope that you like me and my friends' work.
Now that Helen has told us some stuff about paintings, her paintings, we have another special guest that will be talking about his paintings and some other paintings too. We present you our special guest, Ludger van der Heuvel.
I am Ludger van der Heuvel, and I am a color field painter. I am a Dutch painter who lives in New York after being rejected by the Royal Academy of Arts in Amsterdam. Since a kid, I was interested in arts, admiring painters such as Pollock, Gorky, Kenneth Nolan, and Rothko. I years later moved to New York, in which I was accepted at the New York Academy of Arts and graduated, being known by my abstract expressionism and my especially color field. Here are two of my most important artworks. The first one being Total, made in 2003. It has the form of the Dutch flag, but with a orange stripe. My fascination with this painting and its color was triggered by the interplay of the flag and the orange. Then Sun, made in 2000. The strong red, the light yellow, and the orange circle makes the form of the sun, and the blue background make it seem like a sky. And for me, it makes the perfect form. Now, by petition of the museum, I'm going to talk about one of the best color field paintings in America. Dan Christensen. Dan Christensen is known because he's one of the most important artists in United States. His art is categorized in the color field, and about him, his art has a range of tools, instruments, and many techniques that make his work very original and exuberant. I really like that his use of different techniques because it makes his artworks original and the experimentation is great. Here are some of his paintings. This one is untitled. It seems as shapes of different colors, such as a orange and purple and pink ones, with some other colors in it, like blue, and here is tiny orange stripes. Now, Metal Yellow, in which there is a background of green and yellow, or a dark green or a dark yellow, with scribbles which are purple and gray. And in Hornet, I really like this one because it's similar to mine Total. It uses geometrical shapes and uses the colors blue, dark blue, orange and red, and green. And finally, Shell, which is a canvas with lots of blacks and greens. Especially the most contrasting color is the dark green, which is technically all the painting.
thank you for visiting our Museum of the Movement of Colorfield. We hope to see you very soon and thank you for coming.